Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and a somewhat subtle but occasionally contentious theme in a few of my videos has to do with my preference that I've made clear that I do like adjustable wrenches in many cases over the Knipex plier wrench. And I think there is some overlap between them, but there's just something about the adjustable wrench. I think it has a lot of great uses. I think it does do an awful lot of things very well, many of them better than the plier wrench. Of course, the plier wrench has a few tricks up its sleeve that are impossible for the adjustable wrench to do. But let's take a little deeper dive into these things. As we all know, the adjustable wrench or the adjustable spanner was created in 1891. Honestly, by the same guy a guy named Johann Peter Johansson, who invented the Swedish pipe wrench. Well, actually, the pipe wrench, the adjustable pipe wrench. And since he was from Sweden, well, that's what happened. He had started a company in 1887. Anyway, so he did very well with his adjustable spanner. And then in 1916, after the company was handed down to his son, the Swedish company turned into Bahco. So in 1916, these wrenches, which were originated by the owner of the company, created by the owner of the company, was now Bahco. And then in 1999, excuse me, Snap-on bought the Sandvik saw company, and turned out Bahco was attached to that deal, so Snap-on got Bahco, hence, the Swedish connection. So Bahco is a Snap-on company now, or under the Snap-on umbrella, and so essentially they own the company that started the adjustable spanner. The Knipex plier wrench, on the other hand, well, Knipex is an old company, started in 1882 in Germany, but the plier wrench didn't appear on the scene until 1994. 10 years before that, the Cobra appeared in 1984, and then almost 20 years before that in 1973, or 10 years before that, excuse me, in 1973, the Alligator, the predecessor essentially to the Cobra, appeared. But let's take a closer look at the plier wrench and the adjustable wrench. Now, their main claim to fame, besides being a great hand tool, is parallel jaws that adjust in size. So you don't need all of the different spanners. You need one spanner as long as your fastener fits within the range. Now, they approach the fastener from different angles. The plier wrench has a camming mechanism that applies an incredible amount of force. That's always been a weakness here. The amount of force is basically a function of this kind of this worm drive and how tightly you can make it, and they're notorious for loosening up. However, it's very fast in one hand, and in fact, sometimes you can feel what's going on, and I often do, how the fastener's sitting, or you can put it on the fastener and make the adjustment. The plier wrench, on the other hand, you get the fastener within the range, and sometimes that's a function of your grip on the tool, and then you can cinch down on it. This angle is a classic plier angle for Cobras and plier wrenches. Seems to be quite functional. So you've got a much stronger lever arm here. However, it's often a two-handed operation to get this adjusted unless you go in with it already adjusted. So whereas this, you can obviously one-hand a very large number of fastener sizes. This, on the other hand, some people have, mastered the ability to flick it to particular places and try it. But it doesn't really work, I don't think, near as fast as this. And sometimes little subtle movement. It's obviously a fairly large tool, even on the smaller frame. Now, the reason I was thinking about it had to do with kind of the EDC world. I really love small adjustable wrenches. They're just incredibly functional. In fact, this is probably my overall favorite, this tiny little, I wish they made a smaller wide jaw one. Snap-on, if you're listening, this one's made in Spain. This is an excellent wrench just for so many different things. It is not the super wide thin jaw for plumbing. It's actually a fully functional one, but it's very small and just does a lot of stuff. Plier wrench, on the other hand, it's smaller, it's lighter. If you look at the range, compared to these small adjustable wrenches, it can't come close. But the moment you start really jumping up, you can, generally come pretty close to what most adjustable wrenches can do, unless you go to the wide jaws. So that's a fair comparison. If you get kind of the camming mechanism in play, you've got a much greater grip, incredibly strong. I've shown you can smash pennies, smash coins with these things. Plus, you can rotate it. And when you rotate with the release, you can get essentially a ratcheting mechanism, which you certainly can't do here, but many of us are well versed with, an amount of loosening, adjusting, tightening, loosening, adjusting, and tightening. Not near as efficient, but certainly works. As far as durability, I haven't ever had one of these things really clog up on me. There's not a lot going on here. Maybe the spring could get all gunked up, but you could probably clean this out. Whereas these historically are notorious for becoming very difficult to turn if they're all gunked up, and cheaper ones break. Knipex makes these, but other companies do as well, and they've incorporated some of their own individual essences into the pliers, and their variations on these things. But here comes down to the question for you. Like I said, if I could only grab one, I might grab this. There's a good chance of that, unless I have more information, and then I don't know, because I need that information first. If all things are equal, I probably grab this. But a lot of people, and this is why I say kind of contentious, have said, no way, this is the 21st century, so you better get with the program. But I want to know what your thoughts are. What do you prefer? Is the overlap great enough that it's one or the other? Or, is it subtle and you really need both? This can definitely do things this can't do. What can this do? Well, it can be operated easily, blindly with one hand. That's like its big thing. So I don't know how to really assess any more than that, but I am curious what you think. Let's throw it out there. Don't worry about my opinion on, preferring an adjustable wrench. It's where does this come in that this is absolutely, second choice, and why would I want to choose this over a more maybe modern and versatile tool? It is a question. It's a question I run into quite often. So anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. And with that, Doc out.